Salvete omnes. In this video, we will learn the forms of the present subjunctive in Latin, in the active and passive, for all 5 conjugations, and for the verb to be. Just like the present indicative, the present subjunctive has different vowels for each conjugation before the verb endings. These vowels are known as theme vowels. Luckily for the present subjunctive, the theme vowels are much more regular, and there's a handy mnemonic to help you remember them. In Latin, there are 5 conjugations of the verb: first, second, third, third IO, and fourth. It will be helpful, before we learn the forms of the present subjunctive, to review how you recognize the different conjugations. It's all about looking at the first 2 principal parts. Here we have examples of the 5 conjugations. You will recognize the first conjugation by the long A in the second principal part, that is the infinitive. You will recognize the second conjugation by the EO ending of the first principal part and the long E in the second principal part. You will recognize the third conjugation by the O ending of the first principal part and the short E in the second principal part. The third IO conjugation, which shares forms with both the third and the fourth conjugation, has an IO ending for the first principal part and a short E in the second principal part. You will recognize the fourth conjugation by the IO ending of the first principal part and the long I in the second principal part. Okay, so to form the present subjunctive, we first have to find the present stem of the verb. To do this, you're going to remove the vowel plus RE from each of the infinitives, that is, the second principal part. Once you've done that, we now need to add our theme vowel to that stem. Each of the different conjugations has a different theme vowel, but we can remember the conjugation theme vowel by using a handy mnemonic. This mnemonic is "we eat caviar." As you follow the vowels through in order in this mnemonic, you get the vowels for the different conjugations of the verb. So for first, it's E, for second, it's EA, for third, it's A, and for third IO and fourth, it's IA. Once we've done that, we now need to add the endings for each of the persons of the verb. Remember, the persons of the verb in order are I, you, he, she, it, singular they, we, you all, and plural they. For the present active subjunctive, you will be adding the endings m, s, t, mus, tis, and unt. So, to take our first conjugation verb, amo, our present stem is am, the theme vowel is e, and then the endings slot right on. The same thing happens with each of the conjugations. So we can see in habeo, exactly the same thing happens. Also with dico, capio, and audio. To form the present passive subjunctive, we again take our present stem, we add our theme vowel, and then we add the passive endings ar, ris, tur, mur, mini, and untur. So again, with our first conjugation verb amo, am is our present stem, our theme vowel is E, and we just add the endings onto that. And once again, it's the same for each of the other conjugations. So, habeo, dico, capio, and audio. You can pause the video to look at those in more detail. There is no present subjunctive infinitive. there are only the verb forms. And also, the present subjunctive translates in different ways depending on the context in which it's being used. So we will look at that in more detail in future videos. The verb sum esse fui is an irregular verb and one without a conjugation. Therefore, the forms of this verb in the subjunctive need to be learned separately. But luckily, the subjunctive forms are much more regular than the indicative forms. The present subjunctive of the verb to be is sim, sis, sit, simus, sitis, sint. Remember, there is no passive of the verb to be. These forms will also appear in any compound verbs that use sum, such as possum, posse, to be able. The present subjunctive of possum is possim, possis, possit, possimus, possitis, possint. So, in review, we learned how to recognize the 5 conjugations of the Latin verb, and how to form the present subjunctive in the active and passive for the 5 conjugations and for the irregular verb sum esse fui. You should now complete the exercise entitled Forming the Present Subjunctive, which can be found in our learning management system. If you have any questions, just rewatch the video or reach out to me via email. Valete omnes.